Welcome to Skill Sprint with me, Chris Webber. This video is a quick highlight reel of my latest episode of the Commercial Edge podcast. I use my notes and scribbles from the full-length conversation to pull out what I feel are the headlines and lessons from my most recent expert guest. Drawing on my experience, this video gives you all the key points without the stories. My hope is that you can use these tips and tricks to unleash the power of your people. Today on the podcast, it was amazing to have a conversation with Tim Kemp. Tim was someone that I met actually through the joy of LinkedIn. We connected having shared posts and commented on each other's posts. And what a wonderful guy and a great conversation that we had on the podcast today. He is a very well-established and well-known leadership coach and facilitator. And he fed into beautifully this series on internal coaching and mentoring because he talked about the loneliness of leadership. Now, initially, I misunderstood. I thought of loneliness of leadership being the idea that you're the guy at the top or the girl at the top of the organization and, you have to make the tough decisions and it's down to you. But he sees it in a different way. He sees it very much in both a physical and an emotional sense, that physically you might be on your own, you might be in a place working from home or in a remote area. He deals a lot with very challenging clients who are very much in a famine situation or a medical emergency situation, people like UNICEF. But also he sees it in the emotional elements of, I have no one to talk to. Here I am as a leader on my own, and I have no one who understands the problems I'm facing. And what Tim was then talking about is, how do we solve this problem? How can peer coaching and peer support help us to solve the challenge of being on our own and not having someone to talk about? And I think there's so much in this, because as leaders, as managers, it's not about saying yes to people. Often it's about the moments that we have to say no that really matter. That's the challenge. That's us standing up to our team and saying to them, hey guys, no, we can't do this. We don't have the authority to spend all this money or to do everything we need to do. We have to draw boundaries around what's possible. And how can you do that? How can you connect with people? And Tim's, pinned on values to this were twofold. Two that I really connect to me, really spoke to me. Curiosity and humility. Curiosity to be really keen to understand and know how other people see the world. And humility enough to be able to listen and pay attention to what they're saying. And what Tim tries to bring to organizations in this peer coaching for managers and leaders is the ability to surround yourself with a group of people for whom will ask you great questions. They don't give you advice. They don't tell you what to do. What they do is open your eyes to things. And Tim shared a really lovely story, a personal experience of how, in a difficult spot, he phoned his wife and she just asked a couple of really powerful questions, and it made him think again about the solutions that he was taking. And you need to listen to the episode to hear that story. But too often we get focused on our own path, on our own way of working and our own solutions. We need to stop. We need to gather people around us who see the world differently. And the final tip that Tim gives, and I think I'm definitely going to take away from this, is invite someone that we don't know to share a coffee with us. Ask them how they see the world. So how is it to work in this organization for you? What do you see? What do you notice? How do you feel? Do you feel welcome? And pay attention to what they tell you. Because it is through this that you'll start to learn how other people see the world. And then you can gather people around you and say, how else would you solve this problem? This is our strategy, or this is our techniques that we're employing right now. What might you do differently? What would you like us to consider? And be open to this. That way you can build a group of people around you, and not just yes people who are going to say yes to everything you do, but who are going to ask you to rethink, to think again. It reminds me of the book by Adam Grant, which is Rethink, How to Think Again. And I love this book because we admire organizations who are dogmatic about their strategy. But the truth is, our longest lasting organizations, the people who make the biggest impact over the longest term, rethink. They think again and do something different. How are you able to open yourself to being not just lonely, focused on your own, working hard, dogmatic, but get the support of others to ask you the questions to make you think again? Well, what could you do differently as a result of what you've just heard? Find me on LinkedIn and let me know. For more like this, and to join in the conversation, search the Commercial Edge podcast wherever you listen to your content. Want to unleash the power of your people? Subscribe to the newsletter, link below. See you soon.